Can you hear me?
Hey, I can hear you. How about you? Can you hear me?
Yeah. Should I be turning my phone the other way, or?
Yeah, unless I don't know if I can
Yeah. Hold on. Let's do this.
that either. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, cool. Oh, this
How
is
are
good.
you?
Nice to meet you. How are you?
Good. I watched some of your other shows. They're cool. They're very cool. You got some great songwriters on.
Oh, thanks. Who'd you see? Was something recently I did? Because
the Creedence Clearwater Revival drummer guy.
that was a. Oh, I loved that guy, but he the poor guy. We both had bad internet connections. I had to upgrade my internet, so I'm doing okay now. But
is that what happened? I know
that was back in that was back in June or something like that, and it kept. I actually lost the interview, and then I had to go buy some software that reconstructs it piece by piece, like parcel by parcel.
I was curious. I was going to ask about that.
Oh, it was, I had to do it on my own. I was, that and a couple other interviews, and I was crying in my, weeping softly to myself, it's just like, that was such a great time I had with the guy. And it just was a total bust. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I watched a few of them. I was like, this is all new. It's been a while since I've done all the interview circuit, so
yeah,
I'm excited. So yeah.
All right, hold on a second. Let me do do the intro for the show, and we'll get started here. And thanks for coming on. I appreciate this a lot.
No, thank you for having me. Appreciate it.
How you doing, everybody? My name is Dean Olson. I'm a songwriter, radio host, and producer from Orange County, California. And I'm really just an average guy, but when I get behind this microphone, I become the strong writer on the radio, helping songwriters and artists keep musically fit. And the way I love to do that is through faith and encouragement and hope, and by taking in the stories told to me by my wonderful guests, and by learning from the best in the business and passing it along to you. All right, so let's see what I got here. Big deal today. This is going to be a fun show, I believe. A very cool show, because you are going to get to be a very talented young musician and songwriter who has given his dreams a shot or two or three and has been triumphant. However, as you know, on this show, and it's the theme of my show, on the road to success, there are roadblocks and detours and even breakdowns that can potentially destroy and cancel your trip. And in the case of my guest, he could have stopped travel altogether, but instead he has gotten back on the horse, and that happens to be the title of Bob Gentry's new album, EP actually, and it's just released yesterday. As we're recording this, October 28th, and it sounds so good. And I'm doing this short intro so we can get right to talking with it. I'm really interested to be talking with this man here today, Mr. Bob Gentry. Welcome to my show, sir.
Hey, Dean. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Really is cool to talk to you. I like it. It's been a while since I've talked to somebody from the Blue Élan label. I used to talk to him all the time, but I had a little detour myself. It sort of took me off track, and things, things happen in life, and you get, things have happened to you as well. So I'm glad that you're back on the horse. That's a great title.
Thanks. There's actually a few people who didn't know what that meant. I had someone ask me, like, what's that mean? I'm like, really? I thought that was kind of a universal reference.
Being back on the horse is something I'd love to hear, how you got from, your beginnings to where you are right this second, doing this album. But how did you meet this the founder of Blue Élan Records, Mr. Kurt, my friend Kirk Passage? Haven't talked to him in a long time, but because he's a busy lawyer, and he sort of only pops out of his house to help people, and that's a great thing. So tell me about this guy and how you got started with this label.
He I kind of stopped doing music for a long time. And just out of the blue, occasionally I would get someone, they'd send me a message on Facebook or an email. My website has always been going, but I got a message on Facebook from Kirk, and I didn't know who he was. I'd been out of the game so long that I didn't know anything. I just had been hiding out in Palm Springs, and it was just a real quick message. He's like, do you have any new music? And I'm like, well, I don't know who this is, but hey, I've got new music. As a songwriter, you're always writing. Yeah. Even if it's for yourself, for me. I sent him over a song that I'd written and had a little video for it. And he wrote back. He's like, we should have a conversation. And I'm like, who is this guy? So I immediately start looking like, oh, all right. And everyone Googles each other. They're like, oh, all right. And then I looked at it and I saw the label. I'm like, wow, this is legit. This looks like, a real thing. And, of course, in the back of my head, I'm like, well, all right, what's going on here? We've all had people approach us in the past, and it's always been something shady or something. And this was not that at all. I just, even now I keep pinching myself that it's happening and I've got new music again. But he reached out. I sent him music and he's like, let's have a conversation. So I met up with him and he brought along Dave Darling, who's this multi-nominated Grammy producer,
right.
Amazing guy. And both of them had lunch with me in LA. And we talked, and it was just, when you meet someone, you get like an immediate connection, whether or not you like them, and you just a vibe. And I just felt good.
Sure.
Everything they had to say, like I said, it almost sounded too good to be true after so many ups and downs. So I went in a little apprehensive, and I'm 49, and yeah. I'm thinking, hey, I got nothing to lose and everything to gain. And I missed it. I missed music. So, to get another opportunity was like, yeah, of course, I'm not going to pass this up.
Yeah, that's good to have this chapter. And you mentioned you were 49. When I introduced you, I said young musician, and that was on purpose because you've had some. You started off pretty strong with, or at least starting to come up when you moved here from. You're from Detroit, right?
Yeah,
originally.
Originally from Detroit. In fact, I moved to Orange County when I first came to California.
What city were you guys living in? You and the bandmates that you.
Well, I moved to Newport Beach.
Okay, great place.
And then kind of put an ad in the recycler and found some musicians, and
which is where you want to go when you're getting musicians, huh? I never heard of
course, yeah. So I found some musicians, and we made good connections, and I reformed a band and started playing shows and recording, and it was we were more of a rock band. I still do that kind of music, but
nothing to be you're nothing to be a slouch at, because it was really good music. I was looking at videos of some of the appearances you did on Farm Club, which was that was like Jimmy, what's his name from Interscope, right? Yeah,
it was Jimmy and Doug Morris. They had like a little Farm Club label, and it was kind of not the beginning of the internet, but it was kind of near the start of when musicians and bands were trying to really push things online, and Napster had come along, and right at the start of that, so they offered us a deal like immediately, and we were like the band with no management, no lawyer, we had nothing. We were just scrambling around. We had this record deal, which also kind of fell apart, but it was a blast. It was really, as it was happening, it was just, one of those.
But you guys sort of just, the band fell apart after that, sort of, or slowly dissolved.
It's tricky because, when you're in that situation, there's always people telling you stuff, and when you're young, you kind of believe the wrong people sometimes. I had everyone's like, we like you, lose the band, and then I'm like, well, it's the typical same story that, and the band was incredible. They were really amazing. And then when I ended up losing the band, I didn't have people around me that could help me put it together. They were really a big help. I mean, they were just amazing. We're great musicians and good friends. And
so the band was, I guess we're started telling the story of, you on the road to, fame and following your dreams and all that stuff. So you became a band, and you called yourself Moisture. Don't know how you came up with that, but right now, the internet tells me these days that's not a good word to use. Yeah, I didn't know it was such a bad bad thing to listen to, but a lot of people seem to agree that that's a tough one to get through. But
it's one of those words that people don't like for some reason. I don't know. But
yeah. But when was this? Mid '90s or something?
Yeah, well, we started the band in Detroit, and it was the guys I grew up with originally, and then we had a little success in Detroit, and then I got to about 23, 24, and just kind of people started to go their own way. I don't know if they just didn't think it was a realistic dream, but I was like, well, I want to go to California. I want to go to New York. I want to go someplace where I think I can get another step up.
Yeah.
And so I came to California. I get away from that cold weather.
Yeah, it is cold out there sometimes.
Yeah, that's 8 months of the year.
Yeah,
get off 4 seasons in one day.
Shoot, yeah. So, but coming to Orange County, Newport Beach, you played some of the clubs out there. Maybe
Yeah,
little.
Yeah,
they had some pretty decent. Yeah, '90s they had some pretty decent stuff. I didn't get to. We tried to. My buddy and I. That's about the same time we were trying to, and we had similar hang-ups with the Napster. We tried to do our stuff online mostly, that the internet was getting big and we could put stuff out. We got stuff on CD Universe and some of these places that are they're defunct now. Nobody knows, or mp3.com. Remember that thing?
Oh, yeah, I remember that one. Yeah.
Yeah, we just tried all those. There was something called Bandcamp, which was way before Apple did all that stuff. And
I think that's still out. Yeah.
We had a pretty good, we had a pretty good fall, and this juggernaut called MySpace.
Oh yeah, I think I had 30,000 friends on MySpace.
We always thought that was the thing. Oh, that we're going to spread the word. It'll be like you tell 2 friends, and it'll catch fire. Our stuff will go viral before we knew what that actually was.
I joke with my friends about, because if you got put in your top 8, you were something special. Your top 8 friends, they were like, they got all the promotion. It's old stuff. The only good thing about being older and kind of being at the start of the internet is I was able to grab my name. BobGentry.com, Bob Gentry Twitter. Every time a new social media thing came out, I just grabbed my name. So everything for otherwise I would be like Bob Gentry Music. It would be something else. But I was pretty fortunate to snag that when I could.
Yeah. So it's there was always that in you, right? That you knew that somewhere or another you were going to get your music done, whether you were only hearing it or not. Maybe I don't know.
Well, if anything, I had an email address out of it. It was I mean, I'm kind of a techie guy too, but I also when internet streaming came along, it helped and it hurt. It allowed people who would never be exposed to anything to be exposed. But it also, it hurt with streaming and
it did
piracy and things like that.
Oh, exactly. Yeah. Yeah, I think one of the ones I was what I meant to say was GarageBand, because Apple has a thing called GarageBand, but there was a site called GarageBand that's gone.
I was on that too.
I was on there too, and that was good because people were giving comments and they were giving thumbs up and start. We were like, our egos were getting a boost because people were liking the stuff that we were putting out. And we go back and try to find, hey, none of that stuff's there anymore. They disappeared. So
yeah, it's an online graveyard right now.
Yeah, that's a great way to put it. And so I relate in some way to what you try, but you had some good success. I mean, you got on TV shows trying to promote your stuff, and when that finally went away, the moisture thing happened, or didn't happen anymore, and 9/11 is.
Well, that was kind of the changing point where things kind of stopped.
Yeah,
and and then also some of the people who were in the industry who all had jobs no longer had jobs, so they got moved around and shuffled. So any A&R person who loved us at the time either were shuffled around or
Yeah, it was out of their hands. They probably would love to help you, but they couldn't because they couldn't help themselves in that matter.
That's exactly it.
Yeah. So
people too. I say there were some shady people. But there were some really, really good people who cared.
Yeah.
And really liked the music. We were very lucky that it almost came a little too easy. maybe we didn't. I mean, I paid dues when we were in Detroit, and we paid all those dues, but when it first started happening, it came really fast, and it went away just as fast.
Yeah. That's where it gets kind of in the theme of what what my show is all about, is that it seems great, and you probably had a real good attitude about everything, but what goes through your mind when it suddenly just sort of it's pretty hot, or it's warm, it's hot, and then all of a sudden just sort of cools down to like it's over with now. Then you have to like think, okay, what are my plans now? What am I going to do?
Yeah, well, it's scary. First of all, it's really scary. You kind of go into, for myself, I went into a panic mode, because you get, there's always like certain levels where we said, okay, we reached this level, now we want to get to the next level, but we would always take a step down, and then we'd have to try to get back up to the next thing, so we did a TV show, we did this, it was really, it felt, and it almost felt like quicksand, because the harder we were trying to get out of this hole, that when we would take a step down, it was a little harder to get back up, because it's tough. I mean, there's a lot of people and a lot of talented people out there, so a lot of really good writers and performers, and no matter how good you are, there is always someone who's better, well connected. It's a tough business. It's really tough business.
Was there a bandmate or like a best friend or somebody that sort of stuck by you through that time to help you, like you could play off each other and be, sort of keep each other?
My guitar player that I've worked with for a long time, Kevin Jellison, he's he was one of the first guys that I met here in California from a recycler ad.
Yeah, that's the guy who's
he's also he's a teacher. He teaches guitar at like UC Irvine. So he's still doing music, and he's doing really well. We're still friends. We're great friends. He's like, anytime you need me for anything, just let me know. And we're still best buddies.
That's nice. That's nice. Through the recycler. Who would have thought?
I know.
That's better than eHarmony.
Yeah, exactly.
Because it is like it is sort of this happens in a lot of cases. I've talked to plenty of bands who it just sort of happened. It's maybe it was like 2 or 3 guys that stuck together, and then you start looking for new people to fill the other positions that you want to make in your music, and that's nice that you got somebody there. So that was probably the plane not crashing, but like coming to a stop. And then what happened to what happened to get things fired up again, and so you could take off a second time?
Well, well, during the whole process of the band, I was doing some session work, and I met some great songwriters. I met a guy named Rod McEwen, who I did some session work for. And he took a shining, and he's like, hey, let's write some songs. So I started writing with Rod. I did a couple little college town tour shows. I kind of got him out of his shell. He had been hidden for a long time. But
we talking about the famous Rod McEwen, poet songwriter guy.
Yes, he wrote "Seasons in the Sun." He wrote "If You Go Away," Gene. I mean, so he was my buddy, and he kind of
he wrote some of that one of those Charlie Brown movies too, I think.
Boy Named Charlie Brown.
Boy Named Charlie Brown. That was him doing. Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
When you said, I thought you said Rob, and I said, no, Rod McEwen. This is great.
Rod. Yeah, no.
Hey, there you go.
He's no longer with us.
A little brush with greatness, but you worked with him, and this was.
I worked with him. Yeah.
This is inspiring.
That was that's a great story. I mean, I'm really thankful. He kind of opened me up to some music that I would have never been exposed to. I mean, I come from a 60s and 70s singer-songwriter vibe. I mean, I'm a big Beatle fan. Who isn't,
Yeah.
But, that whole melodic stuff. And Rod his taste was like, Ethel Merman or something, he had
something a little bit more from his period where,
and
he's
like,
digging back.
Yeah. So we would write songs together. I'm like,
interesting though, isn't it? That, from that, he's inspired to do what he did, Yeah. So he's digging back somewhere. That Ethel Merman stuff got him to come up with something in his own flavor, So,
well,
that's cool.
The good thing about it, I got to meet a lot of really cool, legendary people like Phyllis Diller. You know, I mean, it was fun. I mean,
Nice.
people who, I mean, it was a lot of fun. He had a lot of friends. So it was definitely a musical education on something that I never would have imagined I got to.
Yeah.
Yeah,
we got off
our band. What's funny is our old band used to cover "Seasons in the Sun," the Terry Jacks version of it.
Yeah,
Even though Rod wrote it, we did like a rock version of it.
Right.
So when I met him, I'm like, "Hey, we used to cover your songs," and he would come out to our shows, and he'd have like a polo shirt, and he'd write "moisture" all over it. And I'm like, it's like the 70-year-old guy writing "moisture" on his shirt,
like that.
You know, those are fun times. Those are really fun times.
Yeah. And he's not around, right? He died a couple of years ago, I think.
Yeah, he died a little while back.
Yeah, that was. We got off a little tangent, but that's what I love about the show. You get to learn about little things like that. But what happened?
Show, right?
Yeah, absolutely. But that's a good. Did that sort of give you a little boost to your spirit? You know, that you got to work and maybe learn a thing or two, and you know. It doesn't help unless you take it in here and do something with it later, right? You know, you might be saving it.
The biggest thing that it did for me was it made me realize how possible it was, because when you're just a kid growing up in Detroit, you're just seeing it on television and you're hearing it on the radio. But when you're actually in someone's house who has 13 bathrooms and you're seeing like all these Grammys and records all over the walls in the recording studio and you're like, oh, well, this is quite possible.
Yeah.
Not that I want it. I mean, I don't do it for that reason, but it was interesting.
Wow.
And I got to work with some other songwriters. I worked with Dave Tyson, who wrote Black Velvet.
Oh yeah. Okay. The Alana Miles thing. Good thing. Yeah, so he
good guy.
Wow. Yeah. Those are little fun facts along the way. But
and this is all from being in California. I mean, I would have never had. I'm not saying everyone pick up and move to LA, but being in an environment where things can happen. I mean, I think you make your own luck, and like I said, there's a lot of talented people, but if you don't know people and people don't like you, then you're in trouble.
Yeah. I believe that you make your own luck, because, you could have all that talent in there, and maybe somebody will just sort of reach out to you like a Kirk and take care of the stuff. But these things, it's almost like that, somewhere I heard somebody, it's an old adage too. It's like, be prepared when opportunity comes knocking. So at least, that's where a lot of people found that they became ready to go and they became successful, because they had their, what together when somebody like a Kirk came to him and say, hey, listen, I think I can do something with your music or whatever. And they'd say, yeah, right, great. But if you're not, if you're just sitting on your butt and you go like, well, it might take me about maybe 5 or 6 months to get all this stuff together. Yeah, well, Kirk might go away.
Kirk is such a fan of music, and the more I get to know him, I just, he does these playlists which are pretty cool, and they're always like stuff that I bring back so many different memories. And I listen to older stuff, and he pulls out stuff sometimes that
he does. He pulls out stuff from the '60s, right? The '70s.
He's got great playlists. Yeah, I love them. They're fun.
Yeah.
But it's nice that and when you meet someone and they have such cool taste in music, you're like, oh, and you like me too. This is very cool. That's what a flattering thing.
But going back to that world with him and his label, Dave Darling, I have never talked to him yet. I've talked to so many artists who've worked with him, so we talk about him behind his back all the time. No, and
Dave has 6 Grammy nominations, and he just got nominated for Producer of the Year.
Oh wow!
Yeah. I didn't even realize he had 6 of them. I was like, I texted him before I was going on your show, and I'm like, how many Grammy nominations do you have? Because I wanted to make sure I had it right. And man, I tell you what, working with Dave is just it's something else, because when I write, before I was always self-producing things, and when you're in control, you want to do everything. But
that's true.
Giving up control to a producer, there's a whole trust issue, and I wasn't sure at first. I'm like, oh wow, I'm going to let in someone else that I don't know. But I saw his previous work. I'm like, well, hey, I listened to it. Sounds great. Let's go into it. And when I sent him songs, I didn't like make. I sent both him and Kirk songs, and they were basically little video things of me on guitar, me on piano.
Oh yeah.
And I just kind of wanted him to envision it in his own head. So what you're hearing is Dave. I mean, he really put it together and just shaped it to what it is. I mean,
yeah. But one of the signs of he's one of those producers that I like because every artist that he gets involved with and that he'll interpret, from that artist, you have to be trained, or it's very difficult to hear that fingerprint of his on the music of that artist. It sounds like authentically your music.
Yeah, but he doesn't change you. He doesn't
try to change you. Yeah, that's what I'm trying to say, and that's good. I think
refines you. He did a few things with me. I came from a rock raspy background, so he actually kind of pulled me back a little bit instead of, growling on the microphone. Not that I would do that in the songs, but he let me do it on a couple. But
I think you did. I think I've heard some of that. So.
Yeah, I was a raspy. I wanted to be Bob Seger. I wanted.
There you go. Yeah.
I wanted that kind of vocal.
Well, that '90s stuff that you did was kind of grungy type of,
Oh yeah.
I keep wanting to say, like, who am I thinking of here? I'm going to screw up your story here. Well, I maybe Collective Soul. One of these guys.
Same generation.
Yeah.
But it feels good to do that on the microphone. But I guess as a listener, it's probably not that good. So he reeled me in a little bit, and he kind of really helped me focus on singing, and just letting the song tell the story rather than. I'm telling you, just the whole trust issue with the producers is so important, and with Dave, I just totally. I trust everything he does.
He's great, and nobody ever seems to mention the fact that he was working with the Stray Cats and what's his name, and Brian Setzer, because I think that that alone is like I can never get that out of my head. I go, this guy was part of that.
Glenn Campbell, Temptations.
Exactly. Right. Oh yeah.
And he works with so many artists on the label. He's like, he's the guy.
Yeah, he's the go-to guy. If so much great things to say about him. I hope you'll listen to these one day and let me talk to him, because he's probably too busy helping all the artists out.
I'm gonna tag him in this post when this is up. So Dave, you listen to this guy.
Yeah, please, Dave, darling. Haven't talked to your guys for a while, but love your work.
Got a
really
band,
do.
Box and Gandhi's. He's a singer-songwriter himself.
Yeah. No, I see. I'm jealous because I like to be doing what he's doing, but I also don't think I have the energy to do what he's doing, and I don't have all the great toys that he has either. So that's it takes some time to gather all that a nice studio like he's got there. So
but it helps because he's also a songwriter and a musician, so he understands.
And he comes from that place. Yeah, he knows he can relate to another songwriter.
It's a big help. It's a big help.
Yeah. Why don't we naturally just talk about this album that you created here? It's called Back on the Horse. Wow, that sounds familiar. We talked about that a second ago. I love looking at the press releases here. I printed this out here. It says Bob Gentry revives music career, scores new record deal, proving second chances do come around in a lifetime. I think we covered that. That sounds pretty much like what we're just talking about.
Probably my third and fourth.
Yeah, but that's good that you keep on getting in there and swinging some more because, like you said, that it felt good to come back and do this kind of stuff.
Yeah, and I wasn't gonna. I mean, I honestly, I had not given up, but I pretty much got to the point where I started a new career. I still wrote songs, but I wrote them for myself in the bedroom as therapy, just to do it. And
that's good too. Yeah.
It was a little painful to talk about, because people here, when I moved to Palm Springs, they didn't know, some of them didn't know that I even did music. So I never really, I brought it up a little bit once in a while when you get a flashback to Thursday, Throwback Thursday or whatever that is. On one of those social media things. Oh yeah,
the TBT thing on social media.
Yeah, it was nostalgic, for me, and they're like, "Oh, that's you," But I kind of I didn't hide it, but I didn't really talk about it, and so, it was a little painful because I missed it, and I've said this before in other things, but it really was the fact that I spent my whole life doing music, And when I stopped, and people would ask you what you do for a living, I didn't know how to answer that question. I'm like, I felt like my identity was gone. So I was, like, who am I? I don't know who I am. So when all this came back and Kirk reached out to me, of course I jumped at it. I'm like, yes, hey, sign me up. I was, yeah.
Good.
And now I'm telling you, I'm really having the time of my life. Recording again. We just performed a concert yesterday out in the desert. It was filmed. So we're gonna probably release it somehow with it's like KZZ. They're doing this production thing.
Yeah, sounds like a fun project. Yeah.
Yeah. So we're still doing live streaming, but it's going to be a live stream concert of some sort.
Okay.
I'm not really sure how they're going to do it yet, but it was amazing. It was out in Rimrock, and it was phenomenal.
Oh, very cool. So how'd you make it out to Palm Springs? What you just decided that, or did work take you there, or what?
Yeah.
Why did you move from wherever? Because you were in LA someplace, right?
Yeah, I was in LA. I was doing well at the time in LA when things were kind of. I was looking to support myself. I worked as a personal assistant for Bob Mackie, the designer.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. So I worked for him for a little while, and then I started photography and shooting houses, architectural photography. And then when I got out of LA, came to Palm Springs, and I thought Palm Springs was a place where everyone went to retire and they go there to kick the bucket,
Used to be that way too. So
yeah, it's not anymore, man. It's a really hip town. It's young, it's hip, it's got a lot of stuff going on, without COVID, of course. But
yeah, I think that's why the old people are moving over to Cathedral City or Rancho Mirage or something like that now. They figured that the younger generation is great, but they're too loud now.
Yeah. Well, we have a festival like every weekend, just about when there's no COVID, of course. But
yeah. Well, did COVID slow or stop things? Were things happening again for you as you were? Because I assume you started doing this project, this album that you did, this EP before all this happened, right? So did that put a snag into it?
It didn't. Well, it did. I mean, I think we were originally recording just an album, and then when COVID kind of came on, we had all these songs recorded, and I think they said, well, let's put out an EP first as kind of like a little teaser to the album, and then after things die down, we'll put out an album, and you can tour, or I can actually do shows and play live and do that. So I believe there's an album coming after the first of the year at some point. We recorded it a lot. I mean, they only put 5 on the EP, but there's certainly a lot of songs.
Well, it's not a bad way to do it anyway. You get them interested in those 5, you get some more out of it, and
yeah,
I assume those 5 songs will end up on the album, and then you'll have.
I don't know. I'm not sure. I think we may be doing a couple more, and I don't know.
Yeah.
It's up to the label, Blue Élan. I mean, I trust them. I'm letting them steer the ship this time. And
that's good. Yeah. It's good to have somebody that you trust.
Yeah, it's just nice. I mean, I don't have to do everything. I'm like, oh.
Yeah. You do play you self-taught, right, on a few instruments. Is that how you started doing music anyway?
Yeah, I don't remember learning to play the piano. There was always like a piano around, or my friend had a piano, and we were always playing when I was a kid. So I don't really remember learning. I'm not the greatest piano player, but I know chords. Like if you wanted to solo on some, I'm not that guy. I play the chords enough to sing a melody too.
Yeah. Okay, we're on the same page there, because I do the same thing. Can you read? Can you read notes to an extent?
I can. I know.
No.
I know chords. Yeah, I can't read. FACE. I know all that stuff, but I don't actually know how to read. I just play by ear. Yeah,
I won't bore you with my stuff, but I did the same kind of thing. I was late bloomer. I didn't learn it till I was in in my 30s. So because we didn't have like what you're sitting at right there. We didn't have a piano in the house at home, and my parents weren't. Although they loved their music, but they didn't play. They didn't sing. They didn't play. Yeah. So, but their love of music inspired me to love music as well and listen to music, and like you were doing 60s and 70s and all that, and I wanted to play with it. So first thing I got was a guitar at 10 and played with that. But piano was always something I was, I was the type that would go to other places and, oh, there's a piano, clink, 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 like that. And they say, get off that thing. Yeah. So I could never, so I think that carried with me until I just decided to get one of those. I got a Yamaha, like just a $200 electronic thing. And I had a blast, and that's when I started writing stuff. So that was, it's a lot of fun to do.
It's like thinking in a different language though. Cause like, I actually remember learning to play guitar. I mean, it's one of those things you remember because your fingers are always, I remember locking myself in the room at, 10 years old and, learning a G chord or what have you. And,
I just remember being impatient. I just remember being impatient. I don't like, just let's do G. Now let's do C. Now let's do, because I had an instructor at the Park and Rec or whatever that they taught us. And then I got so sick and tired. I just wanted to teach myself. So I bought a bunch of those books and did that. Yeah,
so. That's the best way to do it. The kids today, that they have YouTube. My nephew, he just goes on YouTube and he's taught how to play. I'm like, I didn't have that. Yeah, I had to learn. I mean, I locked myself in a room.
Try not to watch too much of the other ones. The kids who are just prodigies, and because that'll throw you off. They get like, I want to be like that, but I'll never be able. I got to start from scratch with these YouTube videos. I would do that
I only learned how to play an instrument just so I could sing, because otherwise I was singing as a kid and writing and, trying to do music. And I'm like, well, I want to accompany myself somehow. So I started playing that way.
Well, enough of me stepping all over your story. Like I'm just, talking about you. I bring you on to talk about your album, and here I am talking about me. So thanks a lot.
No, it's good.
So listen, back on the horse. Let me tell you something right now. The great songs on here, but the one that the 20 Years to Life, I'll tell you what, that's you got something going good there, because I went and listened to that whenever I was introduced to that song, whenever they sent it to me, and I started listening to it. That's catchy, and that's an earworm that gets in my head. And when I was getting ready to thinking how I'm going to do this interview and everything, I'm thinking I'm singing the song in my head, just the melody. It's a great melody. So you start with melody. I start with melody, and anytime I do a song, always with the melody. Me too. Yeah.
They do lyrics first. I'm like, I don't know how to do that. That's strange, because usually the melody kind of dictates.
Well, you might have an idea, at least for a title or a way to start it out, right? But then the melody's got to come first, right?
Yeah. If it doesn't have a good melody, people aren't going to listen. I don't think. That's the way I listen. I mean, if I'm hearing some monotone song and it's got great lyrics, it's just a poem.
And no growling in this song. You got a nice smooth singer-songwriter voice.
That's from Dave.
Little Duncan Sheik-esque.
I like Duncan. Yeah, I'm a big fan of him. Yeah.
I don't know. That just sort of came to mind when I heard the way. I don't know if it was the effects on your voice, but real smooth. And I love that song. I just thought I'd say that. Cool. Yeah.
It's a quirky little court song. When I was the terms, I kept pulling out these legal terms. I'm innocent. Lock me up. It was rest my case. It had I was a little worried it was over the top quirky, but when it started going, it almost wrote itself. And I'm like, all right, well, let's see how it goes. Dave liked it. So
once you got on that theme going in your head, was it easy to write it?
It was easy. I'm like,
So in fact, you probably had more analogies to throw in there, and you got to stop somewhere.
I did have a few more analogies. Yeah, I'm like, it's almost like you're hitting the nail on the head so many times. I better stop with that and just get on what I'm saying. I was innocent to smile. I never meant to hide, but I'm guilty of the love I have inside. Give me 20 years to life with you. Convict me without trial. Don't make the sentence mild. Cuff me up and hold me for a while. No parole denial with you. Well, the jury's out, you can judge my brief. Let me take the stand so I can plead. Let me testify, let me prove what I mean. You can lock me up and lose the key. Innocent hello that led to no control. The way I feel is criminal, I know. Let the record show for you. I rest my case, don't object my love. There's no reasonable doubt. Intend to stay if I'm enough to sway somehow. Jury's out, you can judge my brief. Let me take the stand so I can prove. Let me testify, let me prove what I mean. You can lock me up and lose the key. Innocent to smile, never meant to hide, but I'm guilty of the love I have inside. Give me 20 years to life with you. 20 years to life. Give me 20 years to life with you. 20 years to life. 20 years to life with you.
You get the offer to create an album. Did you already have songs written before you were offered this, or is it time to let's get busy and write a few?
Well, I had some older ones that were like bits and pieces of things that I was working on before. But these are all, I mean, I'd say 80% of what we've recorded. I mean, only 5 are out now, but there's more. But 80% is new because it kind of invigorated me. It just put me in this mode of I really want to keep writing again and write something new. And
oh, that's great.
Yeah, it really put a spark under me. And even now I'm still writing, but it's fun. It's fun.
For those watching the video, I'm looking down here. I'm not trying to be rude. I'm just trying to figure out. I don't have the track list in front of me because I was going to say, what's the one that you sang with Roan Yellowthorn?
Oh, it's called My Mistake.
Yeah, there you go. That was a good one too. I just couldn't remember the name of it. Yeah.
Yeah, and Jackie McLean sings with me, and she's from Roan Yellowthorn, and she's. I mean, we're good friends, and she's amazing. It was an old song that I had put on an old album, and Kirk said, "Why don't you, re-release it and do it as a duet?"
Yeah.
And I said, "Yeah, let's do it." And I met Jackie, and we went in, and it was kind of a 1-take, 1.5 take recording. And I don't say it's live, but I guess it is live. It didn't have any trickery or
had a live feel to it when you recorded it.
Yeah, well, Kirk has, normally they have this Christmas party every year, and they fly in all the artists from the label, and
right.
The one night is a Christmas party, and the following day he booked a recording studio, and he lets people collaborate with each other, and he has his ideas, and he's like, well, I'll put this person here. He's got some fun ideas. Yeah. So he hooked me up with Jackie, and we went in there, and literally it was just maybe 5 minutes. The next thing I know, he's like, yeah, we want to release it. I'm like, okay. Yeah.
Cool. Very cool.
Right here and all at once I was flying and well on my way. Last year it seems I've wasted my time and thrown some away. Maybe the wheel of luck might break. Maybe there's no such thing as fate. And if I've already lost this race, trying to dream while I'm still awake, it's my mistake.
Right here I know we've said our goodnight in the middle of the day. Last year and almost at the same time, time, but I see how things change. Maybe the wheel of love might break, maybe the feeling just might fade. But if I've already been replaced before I could be the one who could save, it's my mistake.
I'm deceived. It was just too good to be true to me. Right here and all at once I'll decide, it'll all fall in place.
It's clear, it seems, the choice is still mine, but a hard one to make.
Maybe the wheel of life might break, maybe the best years pass my way. But if I've already been erased before I could seize the rest of the day, it's my mistake. It's my mistake. Maybe the wheel of luck might break, maybe there's no such thing as fate. And if I've already lost this race, trying to dream while I'm still awake,
maybe the wheel of love might break, maybe the feeling just might fade. But if I've already been replaced before I could be the one who could save,
it's my mistake. I'm deceived. It was just too good to be true to me. And I believed that the best is yet to be while I'm awake. It's my mistake.
What's the one that's a standout? I mean, are you making videos for any of these, like 20 Years to
I'm
Life?
not sure.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, they're all a little different. I think they picked pretty good variety of stuff. Like 20 Years is quirky. My Mistake is a duet, which is kind of, really intimate. Lead Me On is another track, which I really like. It's probably one of my favorite tracks on it right now. There was a song I wrote on the day of my dad's funeral. It's very depressing.
Really?
But it's called Now That You're Gone.
Okay.
So I wrote that one like almost 10 years ago. And
so your dad's been gone for that long, at least, right? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, I think 2012 or 13. All kind of.
Yeah. So when you write something like that, it's bringing up memories as you're talking, I guess. Write it.
It took me. I mean, it took 7 years to be able to perform it. I mean, I couldn't. So sometimes, I mean, as you write, so like if sometimes you're so emotionally attached to something that you can't even get through the song.
Yeah.
So now I'm far enough away from it that I can actually perform it, and I'm not breaking down through the whole thing.
Yeah. No, that is a challenge. That could be true of other things. Some artists or songwriters, they're good at writing about when something really tragic happens to them. Maybe not just a death, but just a breakup of they had a bad breakup or something like that. I guess I could do that. I've had problems with. See, I haven't had that kind of tragedy. I don't want it, but I don't think I was meant for that stuff. But I just had last month. My father passed away, so it's just recently, and I don't know if I'd ever write a song about that. But
So if you were to, I mean,
if the inspiration would hit me, I would. But
Yeah.
Maybe down the line I would think about something like that, but who knows what emotions will spill out when you're trying to accomplish that,
Well, for me, I mean, it was almost like, I mean, I say everyone says a therapy. It is therapy, but it was like it was a chapter closing in my life because it was such a sore.
Yeah.
I didn't have the greatest relationship with my dad, and I just closed the chapter, and the song kind of helped. And I'd written previous songs, about some of that stuff, but.
I don't know if it's therapy or not. I've heard that a lot too, and I just crying is good for you too. But I don't feel after crying for like a half an hour, I don't feel so good afterwards.
Yeah,
and I don't think afterward, a few days later, I go that was all that did was make me all I had to blow my nose a lot and sick and
getting it out is the main thing. And
I think so.
If you can grab something from it, then there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah. Is that one of the songs you wrote on the album? That
yeah, it's on the EP. That's
beautiful.
On the EP.
I'd love one more talk. I'd love one more laugh. But time slips by so fast. Here we are as the day goes past. We've given up things we can't get back. There's so many things I wished I would have known. Now that you're gone, I'd love one more tank that's all filled with gas, so you can drive me around for one more pass. Don't drop me off, don't you drive too fast. Let's take one more ride, let's take one more lap. There's so many places I wished we could have gone. Now that you're gone, every unkept promise you've made, those will never happen again. Now that you're gone, everything I wished I could change. Let's start the story over, but let's fix those broken things. I'd love one more walk, or a few steps back. Just relax. I know I've said some things and I could take them back. There's so many words I wished I would have told. Now that you're gone, now that you're gone, now that you're gone, now that you're gone. Now that you're gone, now that you're gone, now that you're gone, every unkept promise you've made, those will never happen again. Everything I wished I could change. Let's start the story over, but let's fix those broken things. I'd love one more block of newspaper stacks, and though the ink can turn my fingers black, the headline stings, but the worst is past. I'll take one more read from the front to the back. There's so many words I wished I've never known. There's so many times I wish that you were home. There's so much of you I wished I would have known. Now that you're gone.
Yeah. It's like I said, it's a mix of songs that they picked for the EP. I think it's, like I said, it's just a little teaser of other things to come.
Oh, well, thanks. I didn't want you to talk about that all for nothing. At least we can get something nice out of it, you know. What's another, since I screwed up and didn't, what's another good song on there? See, we had My Mistake. What any good story you could tell me about that, since you you had somebody with you? Is it one of your older songs, and then you decided to bring? Yeah,
I almost forgot what it's about. It's so old.
Oh, my mistake. Sorry.
Yeah, no. I mean, I have to go through the lyrics in my head again to remember. But
well, here's something. Let me go a different direction. So, when you were with Moisture, you had a song called "Upside Down," right? Did you remake it as your own song later on, or?
No, it was just the band.
It's a band. Okay.
It was a band.
I thought you had some good. Maybe it's just me liking the melody. Sometimes I don't. The lyrics will go right over my head, because some people, not your band, but I've listened to bands where it's just lyrics are just what. Who cares what the lyrics are? This is a great song. And the way they sang, the phrasing and the singing and everything. So
that had a lyric in it where it says, "I'm able to hide every bruise in my body." And who's beating you up? I'm like, no, it was just about life beating you up. It wasn't.
Oh yeah.
It was just it was an analogy, a metaphor.
What's your status? You single or married? What's your?
I'm involved. You're
involved. Okay.
Yeah.
So that's that's good to have. You got somebody that can go through this. This is a good time for you now, so this is good to have somebody with you. Yeah, that can share. We'll keep that. That sort of hit a dead end there for a second. So
Right.
You're confident, even though all these things have happened to you. You got a good head. Your head's screwed on straight. This is something that you probably did. You sort of put this away, thinking that you'd never do this again, the music, and now you're back, and it's okay. You found that you can. That it's a possibility again to have this kind of life.
It's been really surreal. I haven't like I said, I put it away, and I just thought, well, this is it. It's going to be one of those things where I'm going to be looking back on and go, oh, I remember doing that, and now here I am, doing it again, and things seem to be going really, really well. I'm getting a lot of press. It's the label people are really, really nice. They're really helpful. They're kind of a machine. They really help. They're not changing people. They're not changing the artists. They really help nurture what we're trying to do.
Glad it worked out. I really do. I really am glad that it worked out for you. So
yeah, well, we're still working it.
Yeah.
We're just hoping that this, COVID will end soon, and we can kind of get back to some sort of normal, whatever normal is going to be.
Yeah.
I don't know if this is going to change things for a long time, or but for now we're trying to adapt. I think before we started the show, we talked about online things, and I'm not one of those guys who really feels comfortable doing the online performance with my cell phone in the house. I've done them, and I don't mind doing a couple things here and there, but it's so not having an audience and not being able to judge if you'll sing a song and then you'll have to look at your phone what's going on, it's crickets. It's a very tough thing, and people who do that well, I applaud them.
Some people have the knack for it, and they also have the the multitasking ability to just look at comments on the screen and say, oh yeah, I got this, and not miss a beat. I'm too distracted by that stuff, but
it's tough.
And the fact that you don't have excuse me. So there's this well-known comedian you would know. I won't say the name, but was going to do one of these online things. It never done it before. And, COVID, performers got to perform, right? Whether you're an actor or whatever, a comedian, a musician. And he's in a panic mode because he doesn't want to screw up. But at the same time, he feeds off the live audience, that's not there. And so
listen, comedy, I can't even imagine that. I mean, it's hard enough in music, but boy, comedy would be really tough.
Yeah, comedy's it'd be terrible. You don't want the canned laughter or anything.
Smiley face, laughter, LOL. I mean, what's it gonna
But this is an
through?
older gentleman, so I figured that it's just not the same. You go the internet in the first place, doing it on the internet is weird, but then to do it this way, and then nobody's like giving you the feedback that you're used to in a club or an arena, so it's kind of strange. And I imagine other people have gone through that. So yeah, COVID's done some weird things to other people, but it's also been it's caused them to reinvent themselves. Some of them have done it very well. So in our case, it's not. I mean, I did this before COVID, and I did this the same way with COVID. So I'm a little bit. I'm glad that other people are trying their best, but it's not for everybody. What you're, like the Instagram live thing. That's
and even some of my favorite bands too. It's people that I'm really huge fans of. I get a little bored watching them do. I mean, friends and fans, sorry, I just get a little. It's a little awkward. I mean, even no matter how much I love, if it's Paul McCartney, I'll probably watch it. Brian Wilson or something, I'd watch the hell out of it. But it's just so strange.
It is. No, I'm glad that you're being honest about that, because I would say the same thing. There are people that I've seen that I was. You'll see somebody like I don't know. You mentioned Brian Wilson. What if I saw somebody like Mike Love is live all of a sudden? Another Beach Boy. Yeah. I look at it and I go like, oh great, but maybe 3 minutes in, I'm going like, well, he's talking and he's getting ready to do his rap. I'm already out, and I go, and I know I'm gonna love what he's gonna do, but it's just like it's not the same. And it would hold my attention better if he was on a stage in front of me, 2 or 3 yards away, and I can still watch him.
One of the bands on the label, Solace Album, they do some live streaming, but they did like a live streaming concert type thing. It was very cool. They had like little cutouts of like human beings, and it was fun. It was really cool. And they did like a paid streaming thing, and that I really liked. I was like, that's very cool. Yeah,
some are hit and some are. I guess it all depends on your taste. It's just weird these days that this is the era where you'll get notifications on your phone. Hey, there's somebody that I know that's going to do a thing right now. Let me check it out. And then I go, well, you know what? It's not even like, you're sitting down to watch a movie in your house, where you sit down and you're ready to go. Let's start it. These things just sort of happen when they happen, and you got to like stop and, okay, I don't really have time for this. Maybe I'll watch the replay of this guy.
That's exactly what I end up doing a lot of times.
So I think
a lot of people do it too. So.
Yeah. So that's a little tough too. That's for both parties. At least you got to know that if you're the performer, that you're enjoying yourself, but I can see that from both angles. So anyway, hope I wasn't. No.
I'm having fun, man.
Yeah, this is the way it happens.
Talk about the music, talk about the album. I'm loving it.
How much didn't I talk about the album? Tell me any interesting stories about trying to get this accomplished. I mean, these 5 that you did, did you hit a roadblock, as I said, or a speed bump on one of them, or was it pretty easy to put it together?
Other than COVID, I mean, everything went really, really nice. It was really easy to work with. Some great musicians, great players. That Dave has like a machine of people that he works with. And,
he does.
I mean, these players are just phenomenal. I mean, there's a list of them. I should make a list and just give credit. Like the drummer played on Alanis Morissette's Jagged Little Pill album. It's really cool. Getting to play with the caliber of musicians. I'm not saying the other musicians I played with were not as good, but it's just a different. It's just different.
Yeah. No, it's always I love those little things, like like you were saying, Dave Tyson, when you were you're working with him. Not everybody's going to know that name when you throw it out, but it's always cool to go. And even when you explain it, like you had to say that he worked on Black Velvet, and that's how it. Yeah. But I love those little things, those little pieces of trivia, because then it's also inspiring, and you can make new friends that way, and hopefully. Maybe you'll never see the guy again.
Everybody writes differently too, so writing with other people. I mean, mostly I like to write by myself, but writing with someone else is kind of fun too. Can be.
So what was a typical writing thing with him, with David?
Dave had music and melodies. He had some ideas. We did a couple songs together, and both of them I really liked. They were more like demos that never really got ultra produced.
You just get in a room, put a recorder on somehow, and
he
just go with it.
Logic, and he's like,
Oh, okay.
So
you on a piano and he on some other instrument, or?
Well, something like for one of the songs, he had a melody, and he's like, you got something for this? So I would write some lyrics to it or change it around. One of them, he had an idea for a song. He's like, let's have a song about this. So he had a different way of writing music. That was different than mine. Mine was a little, it's different. I mean, when you collaborate with someone, it's a new experience. Sometimes you get something great. And,
you're just throwing mashed potatoes on the wall, and if it sticks, it's good. If not, then you may never ever go back to it, right? It's at least you gave it a shot. And
that's like with a band. If you're with a band, things get changed. All the music that I even had written before, they all started out as little folk songs.
Did they?
And they ended up turning into like rock songs at the end. But in the end, it was always about the song. And then, I guess a good song can be played in any genre.
So you were talking about self-produce your own stuff before you came to know Dave Darling and all that stuff, but I relate to that very much, because I don't call it a control freak, but it is weird then when somebody else tries to get in on the act, and then you go like, well, I didn't want to I didn't want that instrument to sound like that, I liked the solo the way I showed it to you here on the.
Well, the good thing about working with Dave, and they were all new songs, most of them. So I didn't have any any notions of, it's supposed to sound like this. I just, it was an open end, like, here's a song, here's a melody, here's the chords. What do you think? And he really shaped it. So when the end result, it wasn't something that I go, it's not supposed to sound like that, because I've been hearing it one way. I didn't get to play the songs live, until just recently. So it was a different way of working for me.
Let me project my own hang-ups on you here with the when you talk about melodies are the way to start out writing a song and everything. But do you ever are you a perfectionist in any way? Like, do you like if you're writing lyrics, do you have to make sure it's just
Not
so?
Always. No, they change at the last minute. Most, like I said, for me, the melody is the most important thing. Lyrics, for sure. I mean, because they're just as important, but I just, if the melody sucks, I don't want to hear it again.
Yeah. That's why it's always good. That's why it's always good. Weird Al Yankovic made a name for himself parodying other people's songs. So if the melody was good, you can put silly lyrics over it, and it still sounds pretty good. So, and that was since I brought his name up. I remember hearing him talk, saying that internet certainly leveled the playing field for everybody, though. At least when you got a record deal, and then if you were trying to do that like in the early 2000s, you probably figured, the internet's the way to go. Let's do it this way and forget the record deal. But then slowly it comes back around that people realize that it's not a bad thing if somebody gets involved and tries to help you out.
No, in fact, I needed the help. I still need the help. I couldn't figure out the industry, and I still don't know how the industry works now. You know, since being away for 10 years, I don't. You know, I'm just trusting, you know, the label to steer me what to do. You know, I mean, I just want to write and record. You know, I'm one of those guys that I need to be guided because I can't figure it out. I knew that I couldn't figure it out 10 years ago when I was, you know, I get 50,000 streams on an album and I'm making $200 off Spotify. You know, it didn't make sense. That's kind of why I'm like, I can't. You know, how is this working? You know, how does people live? You know, and then I realized it was touring, and you know, without a machine to help with that, it's really tricky.
Yeah, but you do have to have a commitment to it, right? You got to know that, like, if there's touring involved, you got to be up for that, because you know, if that's what your end goal is, you want to make a little bit of, you want to make some coin on it, but otherwise, you don't want to starve. I mean, it would be, I know a lot of people say that. Yeah,
I'm not out for the 13 bathroom house anymore, but
it seemed good. It seemed good some time ago, though, right? Yeah, I get that.
Yeah, that would have been nice, but you know, I'm just happy and grateful that I'm getting to do it. You know, I'm getting to do what I love, and I have people who believe in me, and you know, they're supporting it, and
yeah,
man, you can't ask for any more than that. I mean.
Well, so am I. I'm glad I got to hear that story from you and learn about. You know, we sort of went in and out from. You know, we didn't go in a definite timeline, but it was fun to hear about, you know, some little bit of the older days and then what you're doing today. And hope it wasn't too meandering. I really tried to.
No. I was excited about this because they said, oh, it's a song, you know, and then of course I watched some of the old shows. I'm like, oh yeah, I like this. This is
I sometimes will explain it to people, you know, when they ask what the show's about. I had somebody ask me that last week, and I said it's about songwriters and, you know, and creating music, but it's not a how-to show. I just like to find out little, you know, the soul of the songwriter, what happens when things don't actually happen like a fairy tale story, and what do you do when that happens? You know, it's you gotta, you know, that dusting yourself off and getting back on the horse, so to speak, is what it's all about. And I'm glad you still had that spark in you. You know, it took a situation like this to reignite it.
Yeah, like I said, I was a little apprehensive. I was a little worried that I was going to get back involved and I would be, you know, I mean, with music, there's so many ups and downs, and if you can't ride the wave out, it can beat you up, you know.
Yeah.
And, you know, and of course, then that's something to write about. But you know, it's you know, I'm just glad that I'm able to do it now. At my age, you know, hell, I'm, you know,
happy to be doing it at all. Yeah.
Yeah, I know. I mean, that's why when I was talking to him, I was like, "Are you sure you really want to put me on the label?" I mean, I'm 40. I think I was 48 at the time, or I'm like, I'm pushing 50. You know, I mean, I'm not. You know, is there a market for this? I'm doing kind of folky, you know, singer-songwriter stuff. You know, I don't know.
Yeah.
You know?
No, this is what I love, because in fact, I love it even more when I know that you're 40, 48, 49 when this is all getting started again for you.
Yeah.
I interviewed somebody who did this stuff for the first time at 52, and he was like, you know, he hadn't even had
right?
Yeah, he had sort of a singing thing back a long time ago. He's become one of my favorite guests and a friend. So it's. I hope to get a lot more people like yourself on the show that people can relate to.
Well, I mean, with music, it's like, you know, I mean, when I was younger, I actually had people say, you know, you're too old. You know, I had, you know, when we were knocking on doors in LA, I think I was 30, I don't know, maybe 35. And, you know, I had one entertainment lawyer who we approached, and
Yeah.
you know, we were trying to get someone to rep us. And he's like, listen, you're, you know, I'm just going to be honest with you. You're too old for this. You know, this band got signed when they were 17 and they were developed, and it takes this amount of time. I mean, it just was all these, you know, we knocked on so many doors, and, you know, you hear, you know, you have a shelf life, you know.
Yeah. Yeah, you hear too many cold hard facts that they'll throw at you. I had the same type of thing where you get a little bit overwhelmed with the, well, shoot, maybe, or you always wonder, well, right then, should I just like forget about this? Maybe we're wasting our time because we're too old, you know.
You know, and I think about my idols like John Lennon. I'm like, you know, John Lennon was assassinated at 40. I'm 9 years older than John Lennon was before, you know, and look at all the work that they did, you know. So it's like you start having insecurities and doubts and things. You know, it's tough. It's a tough business. You know, I know acting is a little different. You know, if you're an actor, you know, you can be a character actor. You can change. You get older in music, and it's a little tougher. You know.
Yeah.
But that's why I love this label so much. They're like, no, listen. You know, Kirk is like, if I like the music, we like this music. It's all about the music. It's not about anything else. And to hear that, as you know, like I said, I'm still trying to pinch myself. I'm saying, are these guys, you know, you know what I mean? It's like, and I still tell people the story, you know, and I'm getting, you know, some other press stuff on it, and it's a story, you know. They're like, wow, what's going on?
Just lead me on, or walk away. Just lead me on, walk away. Just lead me on, walk away and let me know how it'll be. Don't keep me guessing on my toes or on my feet. Down the road, if you should ever get my way, just lead me on, or walk away. Just walk away. Walk away.
Listen, Bob, it's been a lot of fun.
Yeah.
I'm probably gonna have to wrap it up here because I got another one coming. Listen, it sounds like you almost answered the question of the day. I always ask this. You probably heard this when you saw some of my other interviews. Other songwriters and artists who are hopefully relating to your story. Do you have any kind of advice since now you're experiencing a nice up curve and
those advice on how to get it, I can't tell you. Just, you know, just keep doing it. But you know, just I would say when good things come your way, just accept it. And when, you know, because they're not always going to be there. You know, everything comes in waves.
Yeah.
For me right now, I'm having a great wave. Things seem like they're going up, and I'm just trying to soak it all in and appreciate it and enjoy it and be grateful. I'm in a different headspace. You know, just keep writing and put it on the internet. You know, do whatever you need to do. Share it. You know, helps to have friends.
It does help to have friends, and you got to do it because you love it, because that'll help a lot, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah. If you don't love it, then there's no reason to. I mean, if you're in this for the money, you're in there for the wrong reason. For anything, though. I mean, if you can, you know, make some sort of living doing something you love, then you're not ever working. You know?
True words can't be spoken. It's really nice to have got to meet you. It was just, I don't know.
Well, thank you so much.
I really appreciate it. I hope people don't mind the style. I get a little, when I'm just thinking up these things off the top of my head, sometimes I'll go like, you know, I didn't ask them the right thing. And then when the interview's over, I go, dang, I should have had this. Should have asked him about that thing. But at least we got to talk a little bit about your album, and you are going to hear in this interview tracks from it, especially 20 Years to Live, because I love that one. And yeah, beautifully done, this album, this EP. And looking forward to more music, and hopefully this won't be the last time we talk. Maybe we have something new to talk about at another time, especially when you have another album coming out in the future.
Yeah, well,
that would be great.
I'll see.
Where do people go get it? You got a bobgentry.com, something like that?
Well, I've got bobgentry.com. It's blueelan.com. You can get it there.
blueelan.com.
Yeah,
Elan spelled E-L-A-N, blueelan.com. And
it's on every digital streaming thing. It's on iTunes. It's on, anywhere you.
Yeah. Listen, I went on. I just before I was. Let me remember what he was playing, and I said, "Hey, play Bob Gentry music on Alexa," and they. If Amazon got a hold of it somehow, that it's
it's on there.
It's going to come up there. Yeah. And I said, no, don't play that old one. Play the one I want to hear now.
Play Back on the Horse.
Back on the Horse. Oh, yeah. You almost have to specify that. Back on the Horse by Bob Gentry. It's already out, October 28th, and it's been a pleasure. It really has. Yeah. I hope to talk to you again. And everybody go get that stuff. And I have to stand up and clap. Okay, Bob, nice to talk to you. It's been a lot of fun. Thank you so much. I just got to get out of here. I wish I could do some more.
Go for it. Go for it. Thank you.
You take care of yourself. Bye-bye.
All right, take care, buddy.